the time that he gets. And, you know, I said that a little bit today, but it's the time he gets with our kids. It's the time he gets with me. It's the time he gets to, you know, really be the best version of himself. Hi, everybody on Zoom. So thank you for sharing that, because I do think I thought of my Mark making breakfast for our 4 kids who also go to Catholic school, and you know, you and I share that in common. And that's his favorite thing to do. Like, that is his favorite thing to do. He gets up every morning and serves our kids. And I won't do it because I wasn't raised that way. And I'm like, I can get thrown. But he absolutely loves it. And that's his time with them in the morning. And they know that that's when they get the best of their dad. And it's really, really, really cool. So congratulations. Thank you. Awesome. Thank you. So what are we doing?
Just up here.
Getting the area.
Okay, area. Yeah.
So you want to go first?
Well, I think you're the area.
I said something different. You're something different. Okay, good. You guys, to me, area is the new district, and we talk about this on our team a lot. And my upline is Linda Parker, and she gave us a challenge this year to for everybody to be 8 areas wide. I just promoted another direct area last month, and she actually won the I Want It All in Dallas. I was so proud of her. Not that you can like be, you know, but not that she had anything to do with that, but she was really excited. It was fun. But I really feel like any consultant in this room can be an area manager by the end of this quarter. Number one, I mean, you know, Michael just left everybody a phone message today, or I don't know who he left it for, but a lot of us got the same phone message. I'm like, who's calling me from there? About the Genius Ultra being, you know, shipped right away. That tool is, it's a game changer. I don't even know how else to say it, but Arbonne gives you everything you need to talk about this business. And I don't know what is holding you back, because I don't know you, and maybe nothing's holding you back because you're brand new and you don't know. But ignorance on fire is better than knowledge on ice. And I will tell you that I don't care how you do it, but you need to talk to people. I use, and I encourage my team to use, every reach out method in this business, because when I started, I was able to get a lot of group presentations, but then there came a time when I was like, oh man, and I had to rev back up. So I had to go do, how does Julianne say it? Because I love how she says it. one-with-ones. That's going to be my new thing. Because one-on-one, it does sound kind of weird. One-on-one. It's like, since 8 days in her business went district, did $15,000 in her first month, just finished area yesterday, is probably on her way to region. She started, what's this month? September. She started in August, so this is September. She's already a brand new area manager. She didn't know, you know what we said? Get a revolving 10 on your calendar and talk to everyone you know. She's like, okay. She didn't know any different. She put a revolving 10 on her calendar in 8 days. And she was like, what do I do next? Because she was excited, you guys, and she's on a mission. She sees a bigger picture. Her husband's a pastor, and she had been praying, because she just had her first baby, and was praying about not having to go back to work, and said, God, if I can just make an extra $700 a month, $700, then we can do this. We can make this work financially. She made $700 her first month as a consultant, right? And she's already an area manager, district, area qual. She's like, I don't understand. She doesn't have any problem getting presentations or people to meet with her or anything like that. You guys, she is not more beautiful, more special, more talented, more smart, more anything than anyone in this room. She is only more passionate. And I can tell you, my friends did not know what I was doing when I started this, but I called them with such passion that they were like, okay. What is your mission? Like, I think that you need to see that in front of you. And if area is your goal, you cannot do that by yourself, and you don't even want to. So go find business partners. If you want business partners, you've got to ask people about this business. It took me 6 months to find my first business partner. I called my sister. I was very angry about it because I was sponsoring like crazy. like people to use product. And I'm like, oh, this is just stupid. And you're stupid. And I like yelled at her. And I told her what I thought. I'm sure she wanted to hang up on me. I'm not even sure that she didn't, but she said really calmly to me, and I'll never forget. I hung up on her. It was kind of funny. She said, Molly, have you actually asked anyone to join your business? And I hung up the phone. That's irritating. Because the answer was no, I hadn't. You know why? Because I was too prideful. And I thought, I'm really smart. I have a PhD. And if I'm doing this, then other people should want to do it with me because I'm so cool. It's not really how I felt, you guys. Honestly, I was actually very, very prideful and very, like, just not the best version of myself for sure. But I was not asking people because I did not see the gift that Arbonne was for. And what I thought was it was good for me because I was like in a desperate place, but I didn't look around and see any of my friends who were smart and educated and beautiful, like every single person in this room, as being in need of a business like this. I thought I was the only one. Like, how ridiculous and how selfish. And I remember when I finally asked one of my friends to join my business, she was like, oh, I didn't think you wanted me on your team. And she was one of my very best friends, you guys, and it broke my heart. And she said, we were like talking, you know, pretty vulnerably one night, and she's like, I just didn't think you thought I would be good at it. And I was like, oh my word. And then after that, I was like, oh, game on. Because you would never do that to someone, not your best friend, most especially. And I was like, oh no, game on. So, you know, my formula is $2,500 building blocks. It's what I teach my team. But you know what? The reality of it is it's in your mind. It's in your heart. If you want to sponsor people, you will. And if you want to grow to area by the end of this year, you will absolutely do it. If you want something bad enough, it will happen. And you have to do the hard sometimes. And I told someone today that I don't always like it, but when the Holy Spirit tugs on my heart to do something, I always act obediently, as uncomfortable as it can be. I'm like, ugh. Because time and time again, I've been shown that that's really what it takes. So when you feel that tug, follow it, just do it. Talk to that person, you know, start the conversation. I didn't want to call Mark's cousin in California. I didn't even really want to talk to Kristen Walter. I just wanted a friend, and I was like, well, she looks nice. It was hard for me. That kind of stuff does not come naturally to me. I'm not that person. So, I don't know. That's really not helpful. Does anybody have questions or like, I mean, my goal is to serve you, not really to, you know, tell you. I'd much rather interact with people.
I have one.
Yes.
So you meet these people and you go and, I mean, obviously you're like, hey, I have this business and it's Arbonne in the Walmart checkout.
Right. That would be weird.
Yeah. So when was the appropriate time and how did you bring that up?
Well, so honestly, like, and you know those people, like, you meet, you connect right away. And sometimes when you connect with a person right away, you're like, hey, I'd love to get to know you and meet you for coffee. Honestly, Kristen made it easy because she said, you know what, I have a Bible study. Do you want to come to my house tomorrow? Because I know what it's like to be new. And I honestly, I can cry about it today because I'll never forget ever that I knew that was God speaking to me. Like, okay, yep, I'll be there. And when I went to introduce myself at that Bible study, we still laugh about it to this day because there's a lot of people there that either are on our Arbonne team or purchase Arbonne or whatever. And I couldn't even get the words out to like introduce myself because I was so taken aback by, like, for me, this was like a miracle. Like, really? Like, I prayed, like, is this what I'm supposed to do? introduced me, and I didn't tell you the other part, but I'll tell you now because I'll tell this in small groups. But I prayed, like, if I'm really supposed to do this, will you please send me other Christian women that will support me and do this with me, because I don't think I'm strong enough to do this on my own, and I need a sign. I need you to really tell me. And I don't ask for that like lightly, but I needed that. I absolutely needed to be sure, because I was so scared and I was in such a vulnerable place, and I was just raw and I was over it. I was done. And so that was definitely a clear sign in that situation. But to answer your question, I love to build relationships with people, and sometimes that takes a long time. And that's why I told this story like of Cassie today, because Cassie and I are really, really good friends now, but it took me 2 years to build that kind of relationship with her and, grow with her and learn about her family and understand, where she was at and who she is and all of that, right? And so sometimes it can happen super fast and people can go, yes, I want to join your business. Like, let's go, and for Kristen and I, that was sort of I met her in April and she was a new district manager at the end of June. She started her business the 23rd of June, by the way, and went district like really quickly because, I guess she went district by the end of July, but went into qualification for area in August. So she moved pretty fast, but she's that person who can meet people really easily. But life is about connections. And so how are you at building relationships with other people? And if you're not good at it, that's okay. When I started this, that was not my gift, because I was too, and I think Deanna would say the same thing, like we were too focused on, I was a doctor in a different way than she was a doctor, but you're focused on what you're doing and your own family, and you're not really looking out to go, oh, I think I want to build relationships with all my neighbors. Like, no, right? So it was a skill that I had to practice, but I got better at. And I'm not saying I wasn't good at all at relating to people, but it was still something that I had to go out and do. I still do it to this day. I love to challenge myself to meet new people. I love it. It is something that I continue to do to this day. And I look for people who look lonely, not because like I'm preying on the lonely or anything, but because I was that girl. So I go to like my son's school and stuff, and I look for the mom who's standing by themselves, or the person who, does that make sense? Yeah. And go, you know what? How can I pour into that person? And luckily I'm at a place in my business where I have a little more time to develop those relationships now, but it's the same thing that I've always done. And I think that's important. And you follow the rabbit trails and you meet the people. And that's why I like doing group presentations too, because I feel like then I get to meet people that I didn't know before. And I always am like, oh, I want to go hang out with that girl.
So I'm gonna add to what you're saying, because I think building relationships is such a vital part of this business. And you would think by where we are today that we were really good at that. I'm so glad you said you weren't. I wasn't. You guys, all I did all day was ask people questions so that I could figure out the diagnosis. And so the last thing that I wanted to do when I was off work is to ask somebody questions. Yeah. And if you really struggle with how to build relationships with people, How to Win Friends and Influence People is my favorite book I've ever read. Yeah. It was a game changer. You just have to get through the first 2 chapters. Mm-hmm. It's a little slow, but then it really teaches you how to focus on others and really build those relationships. So what Molly is talking about is meeting people out and about. Some people are really, you happen to be talking to 2 people who are relationship builders. And I know Jody, you can meet a stranger and she can sponsor them like that. That's not my skill. That's not her. That's Jody's skill. She's really good about presenting that information and getting somebody interested. So don't think that you have to figure that out. You are gifted in a different area. So not all of us are Jodys, and not all of us are Deanna or Molly's. Does that make sense? But it's something that you can learn for sure. Somebody told me one time, and this was really freeing for me. They said, play your game.
So I was introduced to Arbonne through the products, and I loved the products, and I loved the science, and I was so fascinated by that, and I thought they worked. And when I first started Arbonne, I introduced a lot of people to the products because that felt right to me, right? And so then for the longest time, I would look around and go, and I obviously I didn't spend too much time on it because my business has grown really well, but I was like, I need to get good. I need to sponsor people this way. And when somebody said, play your game, I went, oh my gosh, I can sponsor people to use the product, build a relationship with them, and then sponsor them? Oh, I can do that. I can do that. And that's when my wit really started to grow again, because that's my game. And so wherever you're at, play your game and don't, do what you're good at. And, it's silly because I used to teach people all the time as a psychologist, work from a place of strength, not weakness. Like, that's silly. I have all these other people around me that are good at, like Kristen Walters, Jody. She does not know a stranger, and she can sponsor somebody, honest to gosh, like off the street. I always look and go, wow, how did that happen? But it's good that I have her because I get to see that and leverage off that skill. And she gets to leverage off my skill, which is go slow to go fast. And so it takes me a little more time. Is that helpful?
That was a roundabout way.
Thank you.
That was a really long roundabout way. So all of that said, you guys, no matter what you're going to do in this business, you really have to be intentional about the ask. And I'm so glad that this challenge, where is Marcy? Okay. I'm so glad that this challenge was 30, or I don't know if everyone had the same. Okay, everyone had the same. Because that is the main skill that you need to develop to have a successful business. That is the main skill. And I was talking to Ricky, you're a consultant, and did her 30 asks. And I mean, that's impressive, right? Do you think that her business is going to be different in 60 to 90 days from 30 asks? All of you guys, your business is going to be different because you were intentional about making those asks. Okay? I always feel like I'm saying a bad word.
I know.
Yeah. So what I told her is, one thing that you have done and I told you this already, and I'm going to point you out to everyone, is that I'm so proud of what she's done, because one of the hardest parts of this business is the ask, right? But after you've done 30 of them, you should be pretty comfortable, confident with it a little bit. And then you go to the second part that's really hard, and that's the sitting down and having the appointment and building the relationship, okay? And that's what it is building the relationship. And then the final part of that is you need to know the skill of closing. And so that's what your leaders are focused on teaching you, is every aspect of that skill of sponsoring. And none of us have gotten to where we are today because people just told us, please, can I join your business? We actually had to do the ask. We actually had to hear a lot of no's. We had to be very disappointed. I'm sure there were tears, because there's been tears in my life when people told me no, because I just knew it. They were going to be the one to take me all the way to the top. And what am I going to do now? And thank God they're not in my business. They're weird. So, you know what? And I've said this a million times, and my team knows this. Rejection is God's protection, is it not? It's God's protection. We may not understand it now, but I'm telling you, all those people that tell you no, you look back and go, you're so weird. Like, I'm so glad you're not part of my team, because you would have been a drama queen, right? Or a drama king, which I don't have any kings on my team. I'm kind of glad, because I love you women. I'm married to a man, but I love you guys. So you have to be intentional. So what you guys have done is the building block of what you should continue to do in your business. And I'm telling you, you're not seeing it in the web stats today, but it is going to happen. A pivotal point in my business is I was really, really intentional about finding those business partners and building those business partners so that they could have their business partners. Are you following me? That's the key. is that's how you're going to get to area, is teaching your business partners to find a business partner and build. So I'm so intentional about that. At the time, I was practicing as a PA, working 60 to 80 hours a week, on call on weekends, nursing home, hospital rounds, going in at 6:30 in the morning. Building a house, 2 small kids. My husband was a collegiate volleyball coach, and he's out of here. So he's either mentally out of here because he's coaching. Can anybody relate to that? Any coaches' wives? Or he's physically out of there because he was recruiting. Okay, so that was my life at the time. And I was an area manager working my tail off, and I looked at web stats, and it didn't reflect what I was doing. Has anyone ever experienced that? And so what happens, you guys, when we see that, what happens, and it's very natural, and I'm telling you this right now so you can realize it when it happens to you, is we pull back. We go, whoa, okay, I'm doing all this work, and my numbers are $367. Whoa, I'm doing something wrong. So we pull back the reins instead of going full speed. And what happens is all the work that we've done up until that point is null and void. We actually have to start over to create that momentum. So something very pivotal happened in my business. I told my husband, I said, you know what, life is crazy. You're gone. We're building a house. I'm living in this rent house. The cabinets are falling down in the kitchen. The window is, falling out every night because you're pushing on it because there's crickets. And I can't take this. And I think the thing that needs to go is Arbonne. And he said, don't you dare. You have come way too far. You are not quitting this business. And I was like, whoa, because he wasn't the most supportive Mark either. In fact, at all, not supportive. And I tell everybody that the 2 most unsupportive people were a man I slept with and a man I worked with. And they're not the same person. So he changed. He changed my business. And here's what I want you to understand. At that moment, I made a decision. I'm not quitting. And in 3 months, we were in qualification for region. And it's not because I made that decision. It was because of all the work that I had done up until that point. And I decided not to pull back on the reins. I decided to move forward and continue to move forward in my business. If I would have quit, I would not be here because Debbie Miller wouldn't be here. Or you guys wouldn't be here because Debbie Miller wouldn't be here. And the reason why Debbie Miller is here today, and I'm here today, is she was intentional about building her business and getting in front of people and talking about the opportunity and getting me in front of people. She was intentional about that. And she is the reason why this area is as big as it is. So, yeah, all those flights to Oklahoma to come to our nation meeting, she's like, I'm going to have this here in Kansas. So she came to our nation meeting every month. How many of you would be that committed to build a large organization? Be intentional about this business. It just doesn't happen because you're checking off your list and saying, okay, 6 presentations, check. Talk to people about the business, check. That doesn't happen. You have to be intentional about what you're doing. What are those presentations for? To find your business partner. And so it's not just a check mark. I did 6 just like they told me to, or I did 8 just like they told me. I've got 10 rolling just like they told me. I've had lots of people that have had that kind of activity, but they weren't intentional about what they were doing. They were more interested in checking off their list. And you know what? Things didn't happen. So you have to have that intention on what you're doing, where you're going, and who you're helping. Because that's what it's all about. You're either helping somebody, educating them on clean products, educating them on how to get clean products at a discount, or educating them about this business. And that's how we help. And when we help others, we get where we want to go.
I think the best thing you guys can do when you leave here is wash, rinse, repeat. So those of you who got here by the 30 asks, do it again, and then do it again. Because we do work this business in 90-day cycles, and you will start to see that show up. And that's not necessarily how we were taught, but that's what we know now. And looking back, I can say, oh, yeah, that's absolutely what I did. And once I learned to actually ask people to look at this business, I did that with intention. And wow, I was a region in 13 months. So if you think about it, I didn't have a business partner for 6 months. And then in 13 months, I was a regional vice president. That pretty much means in 7 months, I went region. But you know what? If I look at my business and I look at the people in it, every regional vice president that I have, I don't care the number of years that it took, but I can pinpoint the time it took from the decision, the intention, the actually, you know, putting the who you're being, i.e. the intention with what you're doing. And you can guarantee that within that 1 year time frame, you know, that will happen. Wouldn't you say?
Yes. Don't pull back.
Lean in.
I know it's a lot of
Another
information. It's
question?
like people are going, okay.
I know everyone's processing.
I was going to say, could you speak to, you kind of made mention of the unsupportive people in your life and how you get past that. I'm hearing a lot of people struggling with that a little bit, you know, just that negativity coming in about this isn't going to work, or, you know, just kind of trying to steal their dreams. So can you speak to how they can get over that hurdle?
Yeah. Well, there, you know, I can only speak to the way I got through that hurdle and the way I've taught my team to get through that hurdle. How many of you, when you started this business, you felt this tug in your heart that you really can't explain? Anybody? Okay. That tug is from a higher power. And you may not understand why you have that tug. You may not understand that for 10 years or 15 years, why you have that tug. But you always have to remember that tug. And that tug is something to call you to a higher purpose. And that higher purpose is to help other people. Now, my higher purpose is to teach women how great you are. Not through society's eyes, because it's so messed up, but through who you were created to be. And that's what my purpose is, and that's why I am here today. Now, I didn't know that when I started. If I would have known that when I started, I'm like, are you crazy? I can't even like have a conversation with somebody. I don't even know how to ask somebody questions unless they have a diagnosis. So you don't know that in the beginning, but that tug is from a higher purpose, you guys, and that's why you're here. It's why you're here on earth. And so there is not another person here on earth that deserves to take that away from you. That is your purpose. And because it's higher purpose, there are going to be lots of distractions, and it may come in the form of a male. It may come in the form of a boss. It may come in the form of somebody in your life that's talking down to you, or maybe somebody in your life that talks down to you. But it's going to come in the form of a distraction. It's going to try and take you off course. And you need to be the one to be strong enough to realize there is a tug and I have a purpose and I need to follow through with it. I don't understand it now, but you always have to remember that tug. And it's unexplainable. Wouldn't you guys agree? But you know it's there. You know that you know that you know that you're drawn. And that's really the bottom line, is you have to make that decision whether you're going to turn that over to a human or if you're going to live out your full purpose and potential.
Awesome. Well said.
Yeah.
And I think maybe your job as a leader is to, you know, for me, it's to share exactly that. That's what I share. That's what I know, because that was my experience. And it's not easy, but, you know, when you know, you move forward in it. And, you know, now my role, I feel like, is to help people see that in themselves. But it's not always easy. And, you know, on a practical perspective now, because my husband is so supportive and he is like, he'll talk to people, or we'll meet with people as a couple, or, when you have those really awesome people, on your team, to say who is the person that I can connect them with that's going to have their shared story, right? Because sometimes you just need to be around or talk to someone that is really relatable. My husband does a few things in my business that he feels like are important, and I feel like are important, especially for men who are, their spouses or wives or girlfriends or whatever are starting to look at this business, because he sees that it's important for people, because he didn't know anyone in Arbonne. I mean, he knew my sister and she was okay, but he didn't know anybody else. And so he's like, those people are probably really weird. And they're probably not people we would hang out with. So it's really important for him and, some of the other leaders on our team, for them to see that we're regular people and normal people and people that you would want to hang out with and be friends with. Like, we're normal families and we do normal things. And I mean, really, because that, honestly, do you guys get that a little bit? That in our industry, I think people think, right? So
just to say one more thing about that, and not that you need to be passive aggressive when it comes to people like this. I did stand toe to toe to my husband, and it wasn't ugly by any means, but there was a point where I did say to him, I really know that you don't understand the vision that I have, and I'm sure it's my fault because I can't really explain it, but I just need you to trust me, and I'm going to make it work. And then I turned around and went, I committed. Now I got to make it work. But money speaks. When they start seeing that paycheck, it starts to speak.
The other thing that spoke to my husband was after the first year in my business, he's an attorney, and, money speaks and taxes and all that. And he came to me and he said, have I ever told you that I love Arbonne? And I'm like, no, actually not. But he saw the tax advantage of having our own business, and that really spoke loudly to him as well. So it was like, wow, she's making an income and we're getting these benefits. Like, this might be a little smarter than I think, but he still wasn't totally bought in, so there was a long time. And it wasn't until he went to GTC with me, and he'll tell this story all the time. He went to GTC with me about 3 years into my bit when I promoted to Nation, and that changed everything for him, because he saw a bigger vision. But I do think, and I do tell women on my team this all the time, like, they love you. They're just trying to protect you. Like, there's no bad, there's no ill will, there's not even any, they're trying to figure it out and make it work too. So you have to be strong enough to be really honest.
They think that you're going to go to a meeting and drink Kool-Aid. And we don't do that until you're a Nation. So don't worry. It's all good.
I do have one thing that I kind of want to get your input on. When I first started, and I really didn't know how to ask, and that's my fault because I wasn't asking the right questions to my leaders. I feel like I kind of expected my close family and friends, like people that were closest to me, to just support me and just do it, because I need your help in this, and I need you to be the first ones to, get on board and just do it. And then I'm thinking to myself, I didn't ask them like I ask everyone else. I didn't give them the information that I gave everybody else once I learned, okay, this is how it goes. So how do you reach back out to those people, and what do you say to make up for coming at them the wrong way?
That,
yeah.
What, exactly. Everything you just said, that you will never be criticized or whatever. I mean, and if they are, they're not your people.
Right.
But people appreciate honesty and vulnerability and clear communication, and, hey, when I shared this with you before, I just keep having this feeling that I didn't share it the way I wanted to, or I didn't share it the right way, or whatever it is that you just said, which was awesome. And I would love the opportunity to come back and share with you in a different way. Would you be open to, you know, having a conversation with me, or having a one-with-one, or meeting with me? I'd love to just bless you with this and really, you know, do it a different way. Nothing wrong with that. Own it.
I've even said when I call people that are scary to me, I even say, I'm really scared to make this phone call.
Totally.
Yeah.
And
Totally.
they'll say, do what? But it kind of like, okay, now I can breathe. But just being honest, I mean, it's just another person, and it's just a conversation. It's just being real. Now that I know more, I would have approached it differently.
Okay. Thank you.
That doesn't mean that they're going to be supportive.
Right. Oh, good. Thanks. Okay, I was waiting for you to say that. Now I'm ready. No, probably not. But some will. Some won't. So what? Next.
Thank you. You know, one of the things that I found through this business is that it's easy to get a yes. It's actually quite easy to get a no from somebody. The hardest thing that I find in the business is those people who can't decide, or either can't tell you how they really feel about it. And I know early on when you start your business, or when you're in great momentum, you have this huge passion and this excitement about the business. So how do you balance that excitement with, and that passion with, the patience that it takes for those people that you feel like are just dragging you along?
You have to.
That you're dragging, or that are dragging you?
They're dragging their feet.
Because you
Oh, I
can't
see.
really, yeah, they're maybes.
Yeah, I think there has to be more asks than there are.
I
So if
agree.
you just continue that ask, then those maybes, the people that are dragging their feet, it doesn't seem so painful. So I have a lot of people that, you know, I coach on a regular basis, and I've learned to ask, who are you asking right now? Who are you dating right now? And it shouldn't be the same 5 they told me the week before. Does that make sense? Because a lot of times we have this idea, and you're going to have people who join your team that have this idea. They already have, once they hear the opportunity, they already have their 4, oh, I'm going to ask these 4 people, and these are going to be the ones, and we're going to go all the way to the top. And so what, in their mind, what they're thinking is, I'm just going to wait until they tell me yes. And they're just going to keep asking those same 4. And I promise you, that doesn't work. It will never work. Okay. I have asked a lot more than 4 people to be six direct nations wide. A lot more. You have to continue that ask.
I think it was your brilliant leader who shared with me one time, it's what you do in the meantime. So, you know, you're not waiting for what are you waiting for? Don't wait for people. Just keep asking other people. Those people, they come back around, and it shuffles back around. I mean, I look at Lori Lucero. I look at, you know, my directs. I look at, you know, like my cousin Jennifer, like she's amazing. And she was on my dream team from the get-go, and I told her that. But 6 years, I mean, people will come back around if they're meant to, and they will say yes when they're ready. And, you know, I just had this really awesome woman who just joined our team recently, and she's from New Zealand originally. She works for Microsoft. She's a big exec there, and she wants a life change. And she was introduced to Arbonne about 3 years ago or so, and it wasn't the right time for her. So her sister-in-law reintroduced her to Arbonne, and she came to a meeting, and she said, it's just the right time for me. I'm like, awesome. Let's go. It wasn't right for me before, but now it's right. That happens all the time. And that's why you don't quit either. You have to give it enough time, and you have to ask enough people. 30, 40, get in front of people.
I like that concept of the rolling 10, because I feel like if you've got 10, those maybes that are dragging along,
might not be so important because you've got so many other things to focus on.
So many irons in
other
the fire.
opportunities. That's really neat.
I also think that people can sense if you're waiting on them.
Oh, totally.
So if like you just need to keep moving because it's like Jody didn't wait on me. Was I at the first meeting or the second? For the very first.
Only 2 days apart.
Yeah, like she called me right away and I was like, oh my gosh, she's so gonna fail. You know, in my world, I was in sales. She wasn't. She was very, like, but I got, like, she intrigued me, and I was like, I have a great job, or whatever. She did not wait, and I knew, like, at that meeting, I was like, well, yeah, you want me. I'm in such an ego, like, oh, yeah, pharmaceutical sales, whatever, and So I had this big ego or whatever and laughed, but then I bought the products, absolutely loved it. And here's what Jody did. Like, she did not wait on me. And it kind of irritated me a little bit because I was like, oh, she's so like totally gonna do this. And I didn't say yes, And then like, she would follow up with me though. And she always asked, she would tell me my why. She'd say, Julianne, I know you absolutely love your job and you're really good at it. But I also know you would love to have more time with David, who's my oldest son. And every time it was like a dagger in my heart. And I was like, oh, every time. But she wasn't like, but she was just speaking from the heart. She wasn't trying to be manipulative. Okay, so does that make sense? She just knew it. And I would say, it's busy or whatever. And she'd totally get it. And she'd give me an out too. But she was like, how about I check back with you next month? And I was like, make it 2, But she did. And then she was getting her car and I thought, good night. She didn't wait on me. What am I doing? Whatever. So I saw that and I sensed that she was not waiting. Like, she was going. And I think people know, they can sense if you're like, I'm just going to kind of do my Arbonne thing until you say yes. Or if you're like, that's great if you want to stay over there, but I'm moving.
Absolutely.
People follow people who know where they're going.
And Debbie didn't wait on Jody.
Okay, and does anyone else have a question?
I have one, not so much for me, but things I've heard lately. How do you coach people who have said, I feel like I've run out of people? You were kind of on that anyway at the time, but how do you coach people? What do you say to go what to do with guys? They literally feel like they have accomplished, and it's not 4 people, it's maybe, a list of 100. They've been in it long enough where it's been the same people over and over, they really do feel stuff. How do you get out of that?
First of all, I can tell you, every time someone has told me that, I sit down with them and I meet with them with their 100% contact list, and that's not true.
Right.
They have skipped people. So that's one thing, is I want to meet one-on-one, bring me your 100% contact list, and let's go through your list. So that's one thing that I have found.
I love Kristen Walter. She'll make people sit down with her and go through their Facebook contacts, which is even better than the 100% list because there are so many Facebook contacts. And she's like, what about this person? What about this person? What about this person? And I think that's really true. I mean, I definitely think that's true because I know that when people tell me that, I will say the majority of the time they're qualifying.
Yes.
And so more often than not, you're qualifying people when you say that. And I don't know how to say that any other way, but then I think it's absolutely true. And so let's go back and revisit, like, what's your why? I think there's something deeper there, like a mindset or whatever, because even, I mean, you're out and about all day long, or if you have kids or don't have kids or whatever, like, what do you are you a hermit? Like, I don't know. Because really like, I look at this city and I'm like, oh my gosh, I was in San Jose last weekend. I was so overwhelmed. I'm like, I'm just going to come and sit here and like park myself and walk up and down the street and meet the 100 people that I know are from Taiwan here. Because it's so crazy. Like, there are people everywhere. And I have people in San Jose, California that tell me they've run out of people. And I'm like, what? Like, there's millions of people there. And I meet new people every day.
Deanna told me the other day in one of our meetings, trainings, that somebody turns 18 every day. How do you run out?
I want to add something to that too, because I feel like it's also about your intention and your focus. When you're out and about doing things, you're spending time doing things anyway. But are you looking up? Are you looking around? Are you paying attention to who comes within your 5-foot area? Because I know from personal experience that you can go through life and not see anybody that would be good in your business. And then the second that you become intentional, you will see all kinds of people in your 5-foot circle.
Amen, sister.
I read a book recently that said she's either asking 5 a day, you know, for something with a revolving 10, or she's out and about meeting 5 people a day. And I just love that 5, you know, 5 asks a day, and those asks could be just meeting with people. So.
Did your family come home? Your daughter? Did they win?
They lost.
Oh, and she's going to get ready for homecoming? I remember when I was her age and I played tennis and we had tennis and then I had to go to homecoming and I couldn't get my hair right. And it was like, oh. I couldn't get my hair right anyway, but.
For like 2 hours. And she was going to do her hair. And she was like, do I wait? I think she left.
Well, I should have.
I know, right?
Is this her husband?
She has a resource.
Was he?
This is your chance.
What's your vision for the next year with Armand?
Mine? I'll say mine first because I know Deanna's is bigger, but I love to sit next to her because one of my favorite things in this business is upping my vision. Like, I love to come and sit with people. I remember Heidi Ness really increasing Mark and I's vision on a trip that we went on. We were like, we are not thinking big enough. And so I love to sit next to her and I'll let her share. But for me, I see a round table of MVPs and I see more people promoting in this business. I see the opportunity for us to help and make a difference for people in our own community and in our own backyard, as well as, you know, around the world. I love participating in, you know, things both that probably you guys see, but also behind the scenes that just really help and serve other people. I see leaders coming in and moving into a place where they can shine and they can be in the front of the room. And there's nothing I like better than to sit and watch. Like, I just know for you today, yes. Like, what a joy, to be able to see your leaders shine at the front of the room. Like, there's nothing more satisfying than that. And, you know, on a personal level, I see some really amazing things for my family and I that we have dreamt about for a really, really long time. We're doing some awesome travel together this year and, you know, looking at colleges that we probably wouldn't have looked at well, we wouldn't have looked at, so let's just be clear, there was no probably about it. There was a no. And I have a very clear picture of people being recognized at GTC and what that's going to look like and how I want to grow that for my team and to recognize them and to give them their, you know, their opportunity to shine. So you guys, honestly, I've never been more excited about the future. A friend of mine said to me the other day, she's my trainer, and she actually just signed up, like, after, like, really years of like crazy. But she's a really, really neat girl. And she said, gosh, I love you. You're always trying to take it to another level. I'm like, Nina, always. Like there's always another level. And I don't mean another title and I don't mean another thing. I mean, there's always another level. So I'm going to Taiwan for the launch and I'm like pee my pants excited about it. And people are like, oh, do you have direct? I'm like, no, I don't have any directs there yet, but I will. And I'm working my tail and doing the do. And you know what? I just think sometimes I know that when you put yourself out there and you know, push your comfort zone to the limit and whatever, things happen. I don't know how. I just know they will because I totally trust the journey and I completely trust the process. And I absolutely know with every fiber of my being that God didn't bring me here to make me one of those moles that pops up and slam my head back down in the hole. Do you know what I'm saying? And so I see really, really big things, not just for me and my organization, but for Arbonne. And there's nothing I love more than seeing the success here and just walking away going, gosh, this is so cool. And we're gonna, like, Taiwan, you guys, is that tip of the iceberg. There's so much more that we're gonna do. And if you want to be in the right place at the right time, in my opinion, you found it. So I'm excited. Awesome. Share your barn so I can have a vision. It's all about me now, Deanna.
So one of my, my team has gotten, by the grace of God, we have a very large team. And one of my biggest struggles in this business is because I am a relationship person, is I want to get to know all of you.
Every single person.
And so there's some great things about having a large organization. That means you have a lot of incredible leaders. But the downside to me is that I don't get to spend that quality time with everyone. And so my vision, and something that I read years and years ago that really has always stuck out in my mind, is John Maxwell said, when you train leaders, you train thousands. And so that's always been part of my vision. So we, have had retreats for years and years and years. And I know that there's something magical about a group of 25. And you guys have experienced that magic. Powerful things happen when it's 25 or less. And so I've wanted to build a retreat center for my team to come. And we're in the process. And by the grace of God, it will be done the 1st of November. And it's, it's amazing because it's a property that my husband has had in his family since the Trail of Tears. It was the original Cherokee allotment to his family. And so it's been in the family, and we happened to purchase it during a hard, difficult time for his family. And there's a 40-year-old log cabin on the property that we've renovated. That has, obviously it has bedrooms and places to sleep, but then we've built another building that has a bunk room that sleeps 8 and another bunk room that sleeps 8, a big great room, and a game room at the top, on the 2nd floor. So my vision is we're going to start with the first 25. And I know Molly asked me, she said, well, why 25? You have more than 25 national vice presidents. I said, yeah, but there's only 25 coming. And because it's magical. So I know that I will have more than one weekend full of MVPs that will come, and that will be my opportunity to breathe life. And they breathe more life into me than I breathe into them. I'm just telling you. It's very selfish. Because their why becomes my why, and the fact that I get to build those relationships absolutely 100% fills my cup. So it's going to be huge. I don't see that it's going to stop at the 16 bunkhouses because we're going to have room for 25. And it's going to be a rolling 25.
We're there.
You're there. So that's my vision, is really just to build those women I don't want to be in the limelight. That's not where I am today. I want them to shine. And yes, that was like truly one of the most amazing for me, just to sit and watch my leaders shine and do what they do best is incredible. Absolutely. Better than getting my car, better than, it's the best. So that's where we're going.
Raising leaders, man. Big vision.
Yeah.
Well, you guys, we are so proud of you, each and every one of you for being here.
Yes,
and,
for sure.
And like I said earlier when I was praying, I hope that you walk out of here knowing that you are so valuable. It's not about the title. And it is about serving. And the more people that you can serve, like that's the best thing about this business is as you serve more, then you get the stuff that you want, right? It's the coolest. So I hope this has been a day where you are really just ignited and confident and like, I am going for it because you should, because, you know, there's evidence everywhere. And that was one of the things, like Jody was blowing it up and I met Debbie and they're awesome, smart people. And I was like, I can do, if they can do this, I can do this, and reading the INR bonds. And you should be saying that to yourself and saying it to the people that you talk to as well. Because that's what I was saying. I was like, there are people that are really doing this. It's not just a couple, you know, like, and they're great and normal and awesome. And you would want to be friends with them. You need to say, you know, like say that and say it to yourself because it's true. So thank you so much. I know some of you have quite a drive.
Yeah.
And
I just have one thing real quick.
oh, go ahead.
I want you to find the note card, and I want you to write down what if it works. What would change in your life if it works? And keep that card in front of you because it was very powerful to look at that card and know that I could check off some of those things. And not just check, but like, holy crap, this is crazy. Check. So we want that for you. What if it works?
Thank you guys so much. Debbie, thank you for having us in your beautiful home. I'm so grateful.
So my little tour guide just left us to Boy Scout thing. Oh. But because I did not get a tour, we can do that now. So sure.
Light ourselves on fire, y'all. It's really on fire. Yeah, we're on fire.
It's not good. Is your daughter going on a date to homecoming? Or where's the date? Bless her heart. I feel like I want to go up and help her get ready, only I'm not really so good at those things, but I can talk to her while she's getting ready.
She'll let me know if she needs help.
Good.
So, but I'm sure she's showered at this point. And
Sure.
I have to put makeup on, and she'll do that all by herself.
Right.
She already stole my highlighter sticks.
I bet. They're the best. I love those things.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah.
Could you use it?
I did.
Debbie, we do have a really good hair and makeup person.
We do.
Okay.
Oh. Are you a makeup artist?
Yes.
We need your skill. I'm serious. Gosh, wouldn't y'all have loved to have a makeup artist come do your makeup for your like homecoming?
Every day.
I'm like, oh, so awesome. She's so gracious.
I don't think she's going to be able to get up.
But you know what? Like,
It's good. It doesn't whatever. I love that. But what I'm saying is that's absolutely going to be no, it's not about me. But I also know that there are people sitting here that I'm so I think she's my favorite way she was sitting there in her garden and she was like, "Let me come on here and go."